Okay, I'd like to talk to you today about leveraging word of mouth, one of the most powerful methods of creating business that I've ever seen in my life. Just to give you some background, in 1998 I retired and I became a waiter. So what I did is I bought a lot of property and I waited for the money to come in every month. But then I was home and I discovered what retired means. You see, you're tired of working, so you stop working. And then your wife gets you so busy at home, you are retired. And every morning, my wife and I used to go out and we used to sit and have breakfast. This is something we've been doing for 30 years. We go every morning, we find a restaurant, we go and sit down and we have breakfast. It's our time together, we connect. And when I retired, we were doing this a lot. We'd go in, get into the restaurant at 8 o'clock in the morning, have breakfast, 12 o'clock, we were still sitting there. One morning I was reading the paper and I discovered the most horrendous situation. The unemployment figures in South Africa are absolutely off the charts. What I'd like you to do is, the people in the front row, could you please stand up? Okay, this is a real statistic here. The people in the front row in South Africa have a job. Everybody else in the room does not have a job. Not only do you not have a job, but you have got absolutely no chance of finding a job because there is just no work. On top of it, the people in the front here are earning a massive £600 a month on average. Everybody else has got a government grant of £30 a month. Please sit down, thank you. Just think of that for a moment. 72% of the people in South Africa between the ages of 18 and 35, which is your key economic active people, are unemployed. And I said to my wife, this is horrendous. Somebody needs to do something about this. And my wife said to me, which changed the whole trajectory of my life, well, you're sitting in your fat butt doing nothing. Why don't you do something about it? And I thought, well, you know, it takes somebody to just stand up and do something. And if everybody was doing something, we'd solve this problem. And I looked at it and I realized there is no chance. I cannot form a business that would employ enough people. So I thought what I would do is I'd create an opportunity. I'd create an opportunity where people can actually set themselves free. Now, if you drive down any street in South Africa, this is the signs you'll see. People standing on the side of the road, they will do absolutely anything to try and put food on their table and a roof over their heads. And so what I decided to do is I decided to build a platform that would allow any company, any service provider, any person with a product to put their product on our platform. Now remember, in this time, we're talking early 2000s, there was no Etsy. None of those things existed. So we put this together. Then what we did is we got people to sign up as distributors. And they could buy these products off our platform and they can go and sell them. They could sell them at markets, they could sell them in spaza shops, they could sell them on the side of the road, whatever. They would then sell it to those people and we would get those people to in turn come and sign up on the platform to buy the products and resell them to people they knew. Over 1 million people have come through this platform and put food on their table and a roof over their heads. So this has been an amazing thing. And how it happened was pure word of mouth. We didn't run one single ad. People just talked to people. And the word of mouth just spread. And 1 million people signed up on the platform. Now let's just look at that in terms of today's market. 2022, 2 companies out there. Let's compare Tesla with Volkswagen. Tesla spent 0 on advertising in 22. Volkswagen spent 1.2 billion euros. If you throw a stone out the window, you're going to hit the Volkswagen dealership. For sure. There's 17,000 of them out there. Tesla, 0. No dealerships. You're going to buy the car, you've got to go online, buy it online. Tesla in 22 did 90 billion euros in turnover. Volkswagen did 86 billion. There's a good reason for this. People are talking about Teslas. Go onto the internet and just put Tesla in. People are bragging about their cars. They are drag racing their cars. They are driving their cars by pretending to be asleep. I mean, it's just the internet is rotten with people raving about the Tesla. They talk about the stocks, they talk about the shares, they talk about everything. When last did you see somebody get onto the internet and say, man, I just bought this Golf Polo, this Ford Volkswagen Polo, and it's so amazing? I mean, Who cares? Nobody cares. So Tesla, on the back of just word of mouth, just people talking about their product, did 90 billion, beat one of the biggest players in the market. And this year, the Model Y is again the top-selling vehicle. This last quarter was the top-selling vehicle in the world, all on the back of word of mouth. Imagine if you could get your clients to talk about your product in that way. Imagine if you could get somebody to say to their friend, man, you just absolutely have to have this product. It's absolutely awesome. I guarantee you, you're going to be blown away with it. I was blown away with it. You're going to enjoy it. Can you imagine if you can get all of your clients to do that? What difference would that make in your business? It would make a massive difference. On average, you guys have got about 600 people that you are in contact with in one way or another. Some more, some less. You know, you go through your phone and you can't believe how many people are in that list. Of that, about 100 people are what we call in your sphere of influence. And what's quite amazing about that is those people have got a very similar mindset to you. So if you're into fitness, people that you know are into fitness. If you're into swimming, a lot of people were into swimming. If you're into sailing, a lot of people you know in sailing. So the people around you are similar to you. So if you could get one of your customers who is into what you're doing to talk to their friends, the chances are you're going to find a lot of people in that friend group who absolutely want and need your product. So I started a little company called Acorn Kids. So when we were getting this whole thing off the ground and we were creating this opportunities for the South African market, I started this little business called Acorn Kids. And I thought, what is the most ridiculous thing that you can sell? And obviously that is bubble bath. I mean, can you imagine trying to sell bubble bath directly to people based on word of mouth marketing? I thought, well, surely we can do this. I mean, how hard can it be? So we went out and we created a little pack of bubble bath and we made it special. We put stars in the bubble bath. So that gave the children a hand-eye coordination. They had to find the stars in the water. And we created powder that turned the water blue and green and yellow, and if you mixed the colors, it gave you the secondary colors. And we created shaving cream in red and blue and yellow, and the kids would paint themselves, and when they painted, they were washed all over. So we had this little company called Acorn Kids, still going today, by the way. It's been going now for 22 years, I think. And we went out there and we signed up our very first person. We thought, well, we'll find one person, do what I preach, find one person, see if we can get them to talk to other people about it. So they went out and they started talking to people, and we started selling bubble bath, and after 6 months, we only had 32 affiliates, and I wanted to commit sewage pipe. It was insane. I said to my wife, this is really not working. We were doing 32,000 Rand, which is about $2.50. For those of you who know the South African Rand. We were doing 32,000 after 6 months of doing this, and it was really very, very stressful. Anyway, after 12 months, we finally hit what we call critical mass. We got to 2,000 people. Now, it's amazing that that magical number, if you can get 2,000 active people talking about your product, you can build an exponential business that knows no bounds. Because what happens 3 months later, we're suddenly sitting with 16,000 active agents. Then we had 32,000 agents. Then we had 65,000 agents, and then 130,000 agents. So it took us a year to get to 2,000 agents, and 6 months to get to 130,000 agents. And that's the power of exponential growth. And if you can get this right, you can absolutely change your business completely. So this period here is very difficult. Getting to that exponential, that critical mass is not easy. Once you get there, though, it's like winning the lottery. Can you imagine 1 month you got 16,000 people selling. The next month you got 30,000 people selling. You double your turnover just like that in 1 month. Obviously, exponential growth cannot go forever. You have a point where you saturate your market and things top off. I started Acorn Kids, we built it up. 18 months in, somebody made me an offer I couldn't understand, and I figure if you can't understand the offer, it's definitely time to sell. So we sold Acorn Kids, And I just wanted to focus on helping companies to achieve exponential growth. So the first client that comes to me is a company called Vox Telecoms. Anybody know Vox? Okay, so Vox was a tiny, tiny little company in South Africa that was doing ADSL connections and that kind of stuff back in the old days. And they came to me and they said, look, they want to create this voice over IP telephone product, and they wanted to use direct selling and multi-level marketing techniques to grow their business. So I got stuck in with them and we worked out a way to do it. And the way that it worked is that we would offer this telephone to one client and we get them to ask 3 questions. As soon as they got the product, they'd pick up the phone and they'd phone their friend. And they'd say to their friend, what is this call quality like? The friend would say, it's fantastic. How would you feel if I told you this was a free call? Friend would say, well, that's exceptional. And then if I could give you free calls as well, would you be interested in talking to somebody? What do you think the friend said? Hell yes. And so they asked the 3 questions. And then what would happen is if their friend signed up, they'd get free calls for the month. Every time they signed up a new friend, that month they'd get free calls, anywhere in the world. If they signed up as an IBO and bought a kit, they'd get a percentage of every single call minute that got charged for. So it was local call rates anywhere in the world, local call rates for national calls. And so they'd, on the 25 or 30 cents per minute that they were paying, they would get a percentage of that call rate. Well, what was the result? That company today is doing $750 million in annual revenue, and they're worth an estimated $2 billion. And that's on the back of signing one person up and getting them to speak to their friends. They did not advertise. They had no advertising in the paper, on the TV, in the news, nowhere. Just purely based on word of mouth. Somebody talking to their friends, that person talking to 2 people, that person talking to 2 people, and expanding their business exponentially. So if you're going to run an exponential growth curve like this, a couple of things you have to do. There's 6 things you've got to do well. The first thing is your product. Now, there's 2 things you need to know about your product. The first of all, it's got to be compelling. You've got to have a product that people actually want to talk about. So it doesn't have to be the best product in the world, but what it does have to be, it's got to do what it says on the box. So if you tell people it's going to do X, then it needs to do X. Doesn't have to be more than X, needs to do X. If you can build something exciting into it, some wow moment into it, that makes it a lot easier. The second thing you've got to know is you've got to be able to deliver. Okay, we have a huge client, the biggest insurance company in Africa, who came to us, and they said to us, okay, listen, we want to do this. I said, look, can you deliver at scale? They said, we're the biggest in Africa. Of course we can deliver at scale. The deal is that somebody would send in a lead, the call center would call the lead, would close the lead to the insurance policy over the phone, and that person would become an insurance, and money would flow in commissions. After 3 months, they closed the whole project down, and the reason being is they couldn't cope with the scale. We signed up 10,000 people in 3 months, and their call center was just swamped. They weren't getting to everybody, it was creating problems in the marketplace. So the big thing is that if you are going to do an exponential play like this, you've got to be able to deliver. So if you've got a digital product or a service that people can just buy online, then this is ideal for you. Because these things, if they go, you've just never seen anything like it. They just absolutely explode, and you've got to be able to deal with the scale. Number 2, you need to have a commission structure that encourages 2 things. The first thing you want to encourage is for people to actually give you and get their friend to sign up as a customer. So if you can get somebody to say, hey, listen, this is an amazing product, why don't you buy it? I drove a Tesla. It was so incredible. I told everybody about it, and I wanted them to buy one. If you can get somebody to do that, and you can pay them to do that. So we're engineering word of mouth here. We're engineering it. If you can pay them to bring you a customer, then that's the first thing. The second thing is you've got to pay them to bring you other affiliates. So it's no good just giving them the money to bring you a customer, because then they don't want to sign up other affiliates, because the other affiliates are going to be fishing in their pond. But if they can sign up another affiliate and make money off what that affiliate does, So a secondary commission. Then what you can do is you can encourage them to bring you customers, and you can encourage them to bring you affiliates, and that is what gives you that mass expansion within your business. Incentives are fantastic. When we were running Acorn Kids, I ran this competition where you could win a trip to Mauritius. How many of you have been to Mauritius? How awesome is Mauritius? Amazing. Isn't it incredible? So we had this competition where you could win. We took 25 families to Mauritius. And you know what? Most of those people who won that competition had done Sweet Fanny Adams the whole year. We put an incentive in place, and these people just lit our sales up completely. They outsold everybody. They built bigger teams. It's because they were highly competitive. And they wanted to see their name at the top of the leaderboard. And we milked that for everything it was worth. So incentives are a huge play. And if you can push incentives into the business, then that makes a massive difference to the uptake. Next, you've got recognition. Napoleon said that recognition is something that babies will cry for, but that men will die for. I don't know who's heard that saying. So recognition is so powerful. We were in a space where we had, 10, 15, 20,000 ladies, because bubble bath was mainly sold by ladies with small children. Our motto was full-time mom, part-time business. And it was all the idea of keeping the mom in the home with the kids and blah, 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 blah. So we had 10, 20,000 ladies. I've never seen a group of people more starved for recognition than that particular group. They were not getting recognition from their children, I can tell you that firsthand. I got 5 of them. You don't get recognition from them. Any parents here? Can you relate? No recognition from the kids. And then the husband was out working all day, come home, and he wanted his pipe and his slippers and his supper, and he wasn't giving much recognition either. When we started doing recognition, it just blew our sales out of the water. Suddenly things just went crazy. We recognized top salespeople. We had hit it and get it campaigns where if you did this, you became the star salesman. If you did that turnover, you became the double star salesman. We had people up on stage and we're giving them awards and recognizing them. It didn't cost us anything. It was just a way to recognize them. And then social, you need to create something that people want to belong to. Look at what's happening in this room here. We all want to be part of this. Isn't this an amazing place to be? Yes. And we want to be part of it. It makes us really want to be here and be part of this whole business. And then last but not least is training. You absolutely have to teach your people what they need to know. When a person signs up as an affiliate with you, when they decide to recommend your business, when they decide to become part of your affiliate program, they give you permission to teach them, to train them, to show them what they need to know in order to grow your business. If you don't do that, that's 90% of your business out the water because they don't know what to say. They don't know what to talk about. Now, in our systems, which we'll talk about in a minute, you can have level up training. So you can say to the guys, well, we're going to give you this much commission, but if you do this training module, we're going to push it up. And if you do this training module, we're going to push it up. And if we do this training module, we'll push it up again. So we can encourage people to go through all the training to get bigger rewards. But what are we doing in that process? We're teaching them what they need to know about the product, how they need to leverage the commission, how to make the most money, what they need to do to win the incentives. We teach them all of these things so that they are absolutely engaged with the entire process. So the training here is a huge, huge thing. Now you need to give yourself a mark. For each of these things, you need to have 80% on each of these things. 80% for your product, the way you explaining your product, etc., your commissions, your incentives, your recognition, etc. You have to have 80% for all of this. If you've got 80% for all of that, you've got an 80% business. But let's say that you are you've got a good product. We'll accept that every one of you have got an excellent product, but your commission structure is a bit, you're not really paying people well to market your product. You're not running an incentive at all. Your recognition is not great. Maybe you don't have any social plan at all, and your training is average. Suddenly you've got a 36% business, and you're wondering, why is this business not growing exponentially? So the whole issue around here is that all 6 of those things, if you do them right, the business goes exponential. It grows at a rate that you cannot believe. Now, it's all meaningless completely if your systems cannot scale. So you've got to have systems that can scale, and you've got to have a blueprint on how to scale the business. So most of us are out there. We're running our business on a cluster of different systems. Maybe we've got, for affiliate tracking, we may be using post-affiliate, and we may be using Exego to track commissions, and we're using website builders like WordPress and Zendesk and MailChimp and Crystal Reporting and Kajabi and all of these different applications. There's a couple of problems with this. The first thing is that your data, the most valuable asset you have, your data, is all over the world. MailChimp's sitting with it, Shopify is sitting with it, Kajabi's sitting with it, WordPress is, everybody's got your data all over the world. The second thing is that to get these systems to talk to each other, to be able to mine that data, how on earth do you do it? Well, you go to things like Zapier and things like BuildShip. I don't know if you guys have used those tools, but there's a huge overhead here. There's two overheads. Number one, they call it Zapier for a very good reason, because every time your applications talk to you, guess what? They zap you with a bill. That's why it's called Zapier. And the more they talk to each other, the more they zap you, right? And the second thing, there's a time overhead, because as your business scales, these APIs are all living all over the world, and they have to talk to each other. And the system gets slower and slower and slower. And as your business goes exponentially, this gets so slow it's unusable. And we know this from experience. And then when it's so slow that it's unusable and your business is on a vertical climb, to try and migrate to a new system at that point is almost impossible. It can be done, and we've done it for clients, but it is extremely difficult. So 5 years ago, Ryan and I sat down, and we decided we're going to rebuild our system from scratch, from the ground up, and we're going to build a single application that does absolutely everything. So it's going to do the affiliate tracking and the help desk, and it's going to do the communications, emails and SMSs and reporting and website builder and everything, and it's going to be on a single database, which means that anything that happens in the system is immediately tracked in the database, and you can mine that data and you can communicate with people on that data. An order comes in, we can say, hey, we saw you bought this, but you didn't do that. If they click on a link to go to Facebook, we can say, hey, we saw you went to Facebook, but you didn't buy our product, here's a coupon. We can talk to them immediately wherever they are within the entire process, and we can report on it, we can see what's going on. All of the analytics are happening right there in the system. Then we built it on SQL Server. Just to give you some idea, we can process 1,000 orders a minute. To put that into perspective, that's 44 million orders a month. So the system is built right out of the blocks for enterprise-level businesses. The second thing, we built it using a technology called .NET Core, which is extremely quick. So the goal is to load a page in under 25 milliseconds. If somebody's waiting for a page to load, what happens? They move on. So you want those pages to load quickly. You don't want them waiting for APIs to talk to each other and all of that kind of stuff. Then we've put it into an environment called Kubernetes. So when you use one of our systems, it goes into a cluster of servers, and as your business grows, we just put servers into the cluster. So there's no limit to how big you can grow your business. And lastly, we've got a REST API, so if you're running SAP or JD Edwards or Oracle or any of these kind of things, our system integrates with your ERP systems and talks to them. We have got an expansion, we call it the Exponential Expansion Blueprint. Now, what we do here, in the way we help our clients, is the first thing we do is we help them set up the system and generate 100,000 leads. That's the first step that we make. Then we launch the exponential part of your business, and we do it in a 3-stage launch: pre-launch, soft launch, hard launch. And the whole idea is this: to get to critical mass very fast. And then what we do is we help you build to the 10,000 plus membership. Now, our record so far is 180,000 people in 12 months. That's how many affiliates we managed to sign up for one of our clients. 180,000 in 12 months. Now, I've created a blueprint, which you can go and download from our website right now. There's 2 things you're going to see there. The first thing is a high-level overview of the of the entire process. The second thing you'll get is a mind map of every single thing that you need to start an exponential business of this nature.